Hello everyone. Today we are going to start lesson number 3, Force and Pressure. Standard 8, Maharashtra Board, and myself Mrs. Prachi Surudikar will explain you this lesson number 3 of Standard 8. Before we start with the lesson, please like, subscribe and press the bell icon so whenever any new videos are uploaded, you will get the notification of that. So let us start with the lesson number 3, Force and Pressure. Can you recall what is force? If you want to give the answer of this question, force is any pull or push movement is called as a force. Like you can see over here various picture. The man is pushing the car. So it means he is applying the force. The boy is pulling the dog, so that he means he is applying the force. So in short, a pull or a push is called as a force. A stationary object on which no force is acting remains stationary. An object in motion continues to move with the same speed and direction when no force is acting on the object. This is Newton's first law of motion. In lesson number 1, you have studied Newton's various laws of motion. Out of that, first law of Newton, first law of motion is whenever stationary object is in the still position, it will not change its place until you do not apply force on it. For example, if you keep a glass on a table, that glass will be on its position only till you will not apply force, you will not pull that glass, you will not push that glass. If you do not apply the force on the glass will not move. It means glass in which position? It is in stationary position. So stationary object will remain in the stationary position only if the force is not applied on it. Similarly, the object, if it is in motion, it will not stop until you do not apply the force. For example, whenever you are driving any vehicle, that vehicle is in motion only. It will stop only when you apply brake, you apply force on that vehicle. So, a stationary object on which the force is acting remains, on which no force is acting remains stationary only. An object in motion continues to move with the same speed and direction when no force is acting on the object. Now, observe. Here you can see 3 pictures. In the first picture, the man is pushing his car. In the second picture, the boy is pulling his dog. And in the third picture, you can see the boy is kicking the football. So from this, we can say that there are various types of the force. What are those force? Contact and non-contact forces. So if you see in the picture, the car is moving further because the man is applying force, and you can see the man has touched the car. The man is in contact with the car. Similarly, the dog is pulled by the master. The boy is also playing and kicking the football. From these pictures, you can see that the force is acting in between the two objects, and also there is a contact in between the two objects. So such forces are called as the contact forces. Whereas in the second figure, if you observe, you will see here some magnet is there and some pins are there. That magnet is attracting that pins towards it. The pins are away, but due to the attraction force, the magnet is attracting or pulling those pins towards it. In the second figure, you can see the comb. If that comb is rubbed against your hair and if it placed, it will attract the pieces of papers towards it. In the third picture, you can see the coconut is falling on the ground. Here also, you can see the two objects. For example, coconut, ground, comb, pieces of paper. So here also the two objects are there. So the main condition for force that there has to be presence of two objects. These two objects insert force on each other. Now in the first case over here, you can see the two objects are in contact with each other. So they are the contact forces. On the contrary, here the two objects are not in contact with each other, but still the force is exerted. That is called as the non-contact forces. So the coconut is falling on the ground because the earth exerts gravitational force on the coconut. The coconut is on the tree. The earth is at the base, but still that earth is exerting force on the coconut, that is gravitational force, and due to that the coconut is falling down on the earth. Similarly, when you rub the comb against your hair and place it, that will generate the electrostatic force, and that electrostatic force attracts the small pieces of paper towards it. In case of magnet and the pins, the magnet is exerting magnetic force on the pins, and that is why the pins get attracted towards the magnet. So the force is seen over here. The force is seen to act through a indirect contact of the objects. That is called as the non-contact force. So here you have learned two definitions: contact and non-contact forces. So you can underline or you can highlight these definitions over here. A force is seen to act through a direct contact of the object or via one more object. Such a force is called as contact force. As I told, the force in between the two objects and those two objects are in direct contact with each other, then that is called as the contact force. So underline this definition: a force is seen to act through a direct contact of the objects or via one more object. Such a force is called contact force. Now the definition of non-contact force. A force is applied between two objects even if the two objects are not in contact. Such a force is called as non-contact forces. For example, in these examples we have seen that the coconut and the earth were not in contact with each other, but still without the contact the two objects has exerted the force on each other. So such forces are called as the non-contact forces. Muscular force is an example of contact force and is applied to objects with the help of our muscles. It is applied in several cases such as lifting, pushing, pulling. So whenever we are applying contact forces, most of the time we are using our muscles. So that is muscular force. Muscular force is one of the type of the contact force. So due to that muscles, we will be able to move one object to the another object. For example, when we are lifting our bags, at that time we are applying the muscular force, or when we are pushing or when we are pulling the door, at that time also we are applying the muscular force. So muscular force is the example of contact force. Forces like magnetic force, gravitational force, electrostatic force act without a contact. Therefore, these are the examples of non-contact force. We have seen magnetic force, electrostatic force, and gravitational force in the above examples. So, all these forces are acting when the two objects are not in contact with each other. Hence, The magnetic force, gravitational force, and electrostatic force are the non-contact forces. Now, there is another force which is called as the force of friction. This force of friction is also one of the type of the contact force. Now, what is force of friction? When a ball is kept on a table and pushed a little, it moves ahead and gets slows and stops. A car running on a plain road travels some distance and stops after the engine is switched on. This is because of the force of friction between the ground surface and the object in motion. In absence of frictional force, the object would have remained in motion. Frictional force is very useful in daily life. So, frictional force is the force which is exerted by the earth surface. You know that the earth surface is irregular, and that is why that is continuously emitting the frictional force. Now, if you want to take the example of the frictional force, you must have seen that the tires of your bicycle get torn out after some days. Why this has happened? This torning of the tires occurred just because of the frictional force. There is a continuous rubbing between the tire surface and the earth surface, and due to that rubbing, due to that frictional force, the tire get torn out. Similarly, if you kick the ball, that ball will be in motion, but after some time, that ball will be stopped. Why it will stop? Because of the frictional force. This frictional force is in between the ball and the earth surface. So again here there is the contact in between the two objects. So frictional force is also the example of the contact force. Similarly, whenever a car is running on a road and if you switched off the engine, after some time that car will stop. Why? Because the earth frictional force will stop that car. So in this way, here again the car and earth surface are in contact with each other. So frictional force is the example of contact force. This frictional force is very useful in our daily life. Now, whenever we are walking, we are pushing the ground behind with our feet. So, if the friction is not there, will you be able to walk? No, we will not be able to walk if the frictional force is not there. We will slip. Hence, for walking, the frictional force is important. So, in our day to day life, frictional force is very important. So, all the objects in a motion have a frictional force acting on them, which is acting in the opposite direction to the direction of the motion. So, you must have observed, you must have experienced, or you have seen that the people tends to slip over the banana peel. Why this has occurred? Because banana peel reduce the frictional force, and due to the reduction of the frictional force, we just slip from the banana peel. So in this way, frictional force is very important for us to walk. So in this way, for daily life, in our daily life, this frictional force we are using at many places, and that is very important for us. So students, as per your new pattern, this part is omitted from your syllabus. Now, if you observe over here in this diagram of non-contact forces, we will see what activity we have to do. Fill a big plastic tray with water and leave the two bottles floating with magnets at the top. Take one bottle near the other. If the north pole of the magnet is near the south pole of other magnet, the bottles will head towards each other. Because unlike poles attract each other, observe what will happen when the direction of the bottles are changed. We can observe change in motion of the bottles without any direct contact. This means that there exists a non-contact forces between the two magnets. So here the two bottles which are floating, we have kept a magnet on these two bottles. Now, due to that magnetic force, the bottle are moving in a particular direction. If we change the direction of the magnet, the bottle will also change its direction. So, in this way, the magnetic force is responsible for the direction or the motion of the two bottles. Now, the next is balanced and unbalanced forces. To understand balanced and unbalanced forces, here is one activity. Here you can see one block is kept on a table and that block will be tied off with the two pans. So now if you placed a heavy object over here, this box will fall down from the table. Or if you feel heavy object over here and lighter object here, the box will move that side of the table. But in this case, you are observing this block is at the center of the table. It means in the two pans, the equal weight, equal mass is there. So here, because of the two equal masses or two equal weight, one is applying the force in this direction, other is applying the force in this direction, and therefore the total force which is applied on this block will become nullified, and this is called as the balanced force. Whereas if you keep the heavy object over here and the lighter object over here, the block will move this side because the unbalanced forces are there. If you have seen the tug of war, in the tug of war game, the two parties, two opponents are there. One is pulling the rope, other is also try to pull the rope. So the both are applying the forces, but they are applying the forces in opposite direction. So due to that opposite direction force, whenever the force is equal from two sides, that rope will be at the center and it will not move. But whenever the force of one side increases, that rope will get pulled toward that side where the force is higher. So that is unbalanced force. And whenever the rope was in between, was at the center, at that time it was a balanced force because the both were applying the same force but in opposite direction. So that was the balanced force. Now the next concept is there, that is, if several forces are applied on an object in the same direction, a force equal to their addition acts on that object. For example, if you are pushing some heavy object and if two or three people are pushing those objects, if these two or three people push the object in the same direction from one side only, then their all forces will get added, will get plus, so that the object will have the net force which is maximum. In the B condition, if the two forces are applied on one object in direction opposite to each other, a force equal to their difference acts on the object. Suppose if you are pushing the object, one is pushing from this side and the other is pushing exactly opposite to that side. So the force which will act on it, does that object will move? No, it will slightly, if the force is unequal, it will slightly move this side again towards the other end side, but it will not move finally. So the force acting in this case is the differences in between the forces. For example, the force which is applied by the second person and the force which is applied by the first person, that will get subtracted. That is the difference between the force acting on the object. So if the two forces are applied on one object in directions opposite to each other, a force equal to their difference acts on the object. And the third condition is a force is expressed in magnitude and direction. Force is a vector quantity. You have studied scalar quantities and vector quantities. So force is a vector quantity because it is expressed in a magnitude. Magnitude is the amount, in what amount the force is acting. So that is magnitude. And direction, in which direction the force is acting. So the force has both magnitude and direction, and hence it is the vector quantity. If more than one force are acting on a body, then the effect on the body is due to the net force. When a force is applied on a stationary object, it moves its speed and direction change. Similarly, a force is required to stop an object in motion. An object can change its shape due to the force. These are some properties of the force. So the first property is a force is required to stop an object in a motion. As I told, if any vehicle is in motion, we have to apply the force in terms of brakes, then only that vehicle will stop. So to stop the object which is in motion, the force is required. This is the first character of the force. Second is an object can change its shape due to the force. If I given you one chalk and if you apply the force on it, it will break into its pieces. It means an object can change its shape due to the force. Third, while kneading a dough made from flour, a dough changes its shape when a force is applied. So whenever your mother is making rotis and kneading a dough for it, she is continuously applying the force on that dough, and that dough is changing its shape whenever the force is applied. Similarly, a potter also applies a force in a specific direction and then only it will give the shape to the pot. Rubber band, when stretched, expands. There are many such examples. The next concept is inertia. We have seen that an object changes its state of motion due to force. In the absence of a force, object exhibit a tendency to remain in the existing state of motion. Let us see the following examples. So inertia is the tendency of an object to remain in the existing state of motion. For example, if the object is in stationary position, is in still position, it will remain in still position only. So this tendency of that object to remain in the stationary position is called as inertia. Similarly, if the object is in motion, that will remain in motion until you do not apply any other force to stop it. So that tendency to remain in motion only is called as the inertia. So the definition of inertia can be the tendency of an object to remain in its existing state is called as inertia. You can highlight these two lines. The tendency of an object to remain in its existing state is called as inertia. As I said, if the object is in stationary position, it will remain in stationary position only. This tendency is inertia. Or if the object is in motion, it will remain in motion only. So this tendency is the inertia. This is why an object in stationary state remains in the same state and an object in the motion remain in the state of motion in the absence of external force. Now there are various types of inertia. We will learn these types of inertia. So first type of inertia is inertia of the state of rest. An object in the state of rest cannot change its shape of rest due to its inherent property. This property is called as the inertia of state of rest. Suppose the object is in the stationary position. It will not change its stationary position. This is the natural tendency of that object. So this is called as the inertia of the state of rest. Rest means no moving, stationary position. So state of rest means the object which is having in the stationary position. So that is inertia of the state of rest. Inertia of motion. This is the second type. The inherent property of an object due to which its state of motion cannot change is called its inertia of motion. So if the object is in motion, it will always have the tendency to remain in motion only and refuse to change its position of motion. That is called as the inertia of motion. For example, a revolving electric fan continues to revolve even after it is switched off. Passengers sitting in the running bus get a jerk in the forward direction if the bus suddenly stops. You must have seen that whenever the fan is rotating and you switched off the button, the fan will still continue to rotate after switching off the button also. That means the fan is refusing or is having natural tendency to remain in the motion only. So that is the inertia of motion. Directional inertia, the inherent property of an object due to which the object cannot change the direction of its motion, is called as directional inertia. For example, if a vehicle in motion along a straight line suddenly turns, the passengers sitting in it are thrown opposite to the direction of turning. So whenever any object is in particular directional motion, it will have the tendency to remain in that direction only. So that is directional inertia. For example, you must have seen whenever you are traveling through buses or vehicles, if you are in a straight motion and suddenly the bus or vehicle turns, you will get jerk towards one side. Why that is happening? Just because of the directional inertia. Our body is in tendency to remain in the direction, straight direction only, and the suddenly when turn comes, the body refuses to go in that direction immediately. So that is the directional inertia. It is the inherent tendency or the natural tendency of object to remain in the direction of motion only. This is the directional inertia. So these are the three types of inertia: inertia of state of rest, inertia of motion, and directional inertia. Now the next concept is pressure. We will watch this concept in our next video. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much.